Hello everybody, I'm Mike O'Sullivan, CEO of One South Coast Chamber, and we're here today to do the One South Coast Business Connection, and I am joined by Patty Rigo, Executive Director of Viva Fall River. Welcome, Patty.
Hi, thanks for having me.
And Rick Kidder, the Chief Operating Officer of One South Coast Chamber, who handles, as amongst his many responsibilities, regional tourism. And we'd like to talk to you today a lot about the tourism, and specifically in Fall River, and how it relates to tourism regionally. So Patty, tell us about what all the exciting things that you've got happening.
How long do we have? No, it's really exciting, especially because this is the calm before the storm, really. We're getting everything ready for the spring and summer season, which is our height of tourism season around here. But right now, we're just trying to really focus on the energy and the excitement that has been generated through the Viva Fall River movement and just across the city. So one of the things that we're really honing in on is the fact that Fall River has an amazing culinary scene. Everybody loves the food, and so that's the thing that we find too, is the good common denominator between all the different kinds of ethnicities and different cultures. And like when I did the meat pie tour, for instance, every culture has a meat pie, and that meat pie or that thing means something to their tradition and to their community. And then you find through that we have commonalities. So it's about finding the things that are common, but also finding those unique things about Fall River that really make us a special South Coast destination. So we're really focusing on food. One of the things I'm working on right now is trying to lock in all of the restaurants for Restaurant Week 2023. Spring of last year we did Restaurant Week, and it was the first one that I can find that had been done in about 10 years. So we brought it back because why not? Who doesn't want to eat and have a great deal and have a reason to go out and eat? And I think that's the thing too. And try new restaurants. That was really what it was about. We all have our favorites, you go all the time, but it's about how do we get people to break out of that shell and also to feel comfortable, because sometimes, especially with some of those restaurants I was talking about that are maybe more Latin American, you might not be familiar with the cuisine. So this is an opportunity for those restaurants to create price fixed menus that we're not asking them to do anything different, but cull from their extensive menus and give you our best of your best. Like, what are the things that you are known for or that you want to be known for? And that helps narrow it down for people and makes it feel more accessible. And it makes it like this fun event. I know last year it was nice we had 12 restaurants, which was really great for the first time out. And it was nice to go out and you'd see people maybe you hadn't seen in a while, especially since that was, we're still kind of out of COVID, in COVID, whatever. But last year especially was really important that we did this for the restaurants. So I could say it was a success because one of the restaurants even ended up extending it. They decided to do an additional week just on their own. Great. So that's always, for me, a win right there.
When is Restaurant Week this year?
This year we've extended it. Last year we did it for 7 days. This year we decided to do it for 10 days so that it includes 2 weekends, which I think will bring more people in, give more opportunity for people who aren't maybe super local, maybe about 20 minutes away. So it's March 24th through April 2nd. No fooling. No fooling through April 2nd. And right now we have about 14 restaurants locked in. We're still, collecting the items. And by the time this is on the air, I'm hoping people will already be, looking at all the promotions. And we're going to have the menus online, because I'm actually one of those people. I'll tell you a secret. Before I go out and eat, I always look at the menu and I already know what I want. That way I can just focus on my guests.
I've become one of those cheaters.
I am.
Are you a cheater?
I am not. I prefer to walk into a restaurant, be surprised at what I find, knowing that, look at me, knowing that I will always find something that I love. So for me, no, I like to be surprised when I walk into a new place.
I mean, I'm still open to the specials, but I really like to kind of, I'm terrible. I also read the end of movies online while I'm watching them. It's like terrible.
Shame on you.
I know, I'm telling you all kinds of things about myself I shouldn't be telling you.
Somehow that doesn't shock me. Somehow that does not shock
so yeah,
me.
I'm really excited about Restaurant Week, and I think one of the things that people are going to find different, and maybe not locally, because I did promote it really heavily in Fall River, but we're really going to be promoting it outside of the city. So utilizing Providence media, definitely some Boston media, and just now we have a better understanding of what people want to do. So Restaurant Week is definitely going to be, I think, a big success this year. I hope.
Well, and we hope so as
Yes.
well. Rick, that's a perfect roll right into regional tourism.
It
as
is.
Patty talks about reaching out to Providence media and communities outside of Fall River.
Absolutely. When it comes to, first off, I think everyone needs to understand how this is structured. The Chamber has the responsibility of coordinating the activities of the Southeastern Massachusetts Visitors Bureau. That Visitors Bureau is actually what's called a Regional Tourism Council that's set in statute by the legislature and receives some funding from the Massachusetts Office of Travel and Tourism. That funding is for us to market Bristol County as a whole, and hopefully with some equality, market Bristol County as a whole to the outside world to come here and spend money. The whole role of tourism is something I call OPM, other people's money.
I love it.
We are trying to import other people's money into this place. And a lot of that is about promoting things locally because you want your local audience to circulate dollars as well. But a lot of our work is focused on actually bringing in people from outside. So in order to do that, you really have to define what you are pretty well. I think most people who live in Massachusetts, or don't live in Massachusetts, when they think about visiting here, they think about the Cape. They think about the islands. They think about Boston. Some may even think about the Berkshires, that area of beauty. But often we're a part of the state that is kind of overlooked and driven through,
Yes.
as opposed to driven to. Part of our being overlooked has to do with the fact that there are such tourism centers in those other places, whereas here our profile has been a little bit lower and our assets are a little bit different. So we market ourselves differently from the way the Cape or the Vineyard or Nantucket may do so. We market ourselves as a less expensive alternative to some of those expensive places, and a place which our slogan says, all here and all near. We're a place where people can come, have a magnificent time, but if they can do so at a lower price point, generally, and they can have access. They want to go over to the Vineyard for the day, they hop on the ferry. They want to go to Block Island for the day, they hop onto the ferry. If they want to drive out to the Cape, it's an easy drive. Pretty soon we're going to have the rail here, which means that we'll be marketing more in Boston to bring people down here. Our goal with this is to kind of treat ourselves as what's called, in marketing terms, a hub and spoke. We may not be the number one place on their list for a luxury vacation, but we have magnificent places to stay. We have magnificent restaurants, as you've discussed. We have an incredible cultural tourism scene. We have remarkable arts and culture within our primary communities and the small communities that we serve. So that is an attraction unto itself, but it also means that we can get to those other places they might want to visit, but perhaps aren't going to be able or wishing to spend $500 a night on the Vineyard.
Absolutely.
Or $700 a night at a five-star resort on the Cape. So for us, we look at ourselves a little bit differently from the way those tourism centers do, and the vast majority of our market is actually what we call the drive market. People are coming here primarily from Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York, other New England states, Eastern Canada. So we spend most of our marketing dollars, which for us, generally speaking, is about $250,000 a year. We spend most of our marketing dollars marketing to those areas. So you often don't see a lot of what we do because you're not driving on a highway and seeing a billboard in Pennsylvania. You're not necessarily opening up Yankee Magazine because where there's a full-page ad about southeastern Massachusetts. You may not be on Expedia looking for things in Southeast Mass. So we are using all of those outlets to try to get people's OPM, the other people's money, to this place.
Absolutely. And one of the things I always say too is, in addition to having it be a lower cost alternative and all the cultural richness, it's really authentic. There's an authenticity here that you can't get in other places. And if you are a real traveler. That's what you want. You want to live like the locals. You want to eat like the locals. You want to be in a place that doesn't feel saturated or that they're, you know, too touristy. I mean, obviously that's a lot of OPM when it's too touristy, but then it also takes away a lot of what made that place really special in the first place.
Well, and here's a really good example of this. You can go to any city in the world and see a musical act. In most cases, you're seeing them in a relatively sterile environment that was designed just for that purpose. That's a lot different from going to the Narrows, because the Narrows has its own identity, its own culture, its own feel, and that is an amazing experience for people. We also have some assets, particularly in Fall River. We have some assets that you don't see anywhere else. Battleship Massachusetts is a remarkable asset. Battleship Cove is a remarkable asset, not just for those who served, but for those who have an interest in history, an interest in somehow bringing history to life. Go down to Centennial Park, and if you can walk the Vietnam Memorial at Centennial Park without a tear forming in your eye, there's almost something wrong with you, because that replica is staggeringly beautiful, as is the Iwo Jima Memorial.
Absolutely, and that's one of the nicest places to see. Another thing, another big asset of Fall River are sunsets.
Yes.
You know, there's not a bad sunset, never has been.
There isn't, and you know, some of those sunsets with the Braga Bridge in the foreground.
Iconic. I mean, and
staggering.
it's just there. You want to take a picture. You want to just hold it in your mind, and those are the types of images that we want to show to the world and have them come and experience. You know, what we sometimes take for granted, and that's also what tourism does. It's supposed to bring people from the outside, but it's also supposed to remind those of us who live here of the things that we have. That you take stock of your assets, and so it's really been interesting. I definitely had some assumptions and some observations, like culinary tourism was absolutely one of the things I wanted to focus on, but one of the things I'm definitely going to be really looking into a lot this year, and I have some big things in the works for ecotourism, because Fall River is almost exactly half, 50% woods, like, you know, or you know, nature. So it's really that's an interesting juxtaposition that you just don't get in a lot of places. Like, you're on the Quequechan River Rail Trail, you're looking at a geese who's following you, a flock of geese, and then you look over and there's a tractor trailer whizzing by on 95, and it's really cool.
And actually, that ecotourism can play very well into marketing the region as well, because when we're responsible for Bristol County, the Fall River piece of that is remarkable. But Allen's Neck Sanctuary is remarkable as well.
I mean, you can go fishing, hiking, biking, whaling. I mean, this is like...
You can do it all.
You really can.
Don't forget about the bioreserve.
Yes, no, not absolutely.
The bioreserve is beautiful.
New trails at Copacabana Woods. I've actually heard that they're going to be doing some like a mountain bike race and a 5K trail race, and so here we are again. People are coming to this area and they need to know, they need to eat. Everybody needs to eat. So what's next? Like, where do you send them to? So those are the kinds of connections that we need to make. It's not that we don't have things. It's just that's how you have to package them in a way that makes sense for the types of travelers, the personas that are coming to the area.
Exactly, and what a lot of people don't realize is that tourism is also very much a form of economic development.
Oh, absolutely.
And so when you look at company relocations, it's amazing how often a company relocates to a location because they began there as a visitor and they said, you know, this would be a wonderful place to do X.
Quality of life.
Quality of life. And we have an unparalleled quality of life. We have an affordability that other places in Massachusetts lacks, and that we've been able to have that while still having some of the most remarkable natural beauty that you'll find anywhere in the Commonwealth. So it's really exciting to be able to have that as an option and a piece of the economic development pie.
Absolutely.
Well, we saw on a small scale and in a quick time frame, we saw that, I think it's 2 years ago now, with Watuppa Rowing. You got a phone call from Watuppa Rowing and said they needed help because there's all of a sudden there's going to be a
regatta.
1,000 people at our regatta on Saturday. And it turned out very, very well. So
it's not hard to pull together the assets. I mean, it's just how you think about things, and you have to think about, if I wasn't from here and all that other noise that sometimes gets in the way, like, what are the types of things that I would really find interesting? It's like, we've got all kinds of things, like pierogies, Cambodian food, I mean, Portuguese food. We've got the monuments that you spoke about. I mean, and all the parks, the Frederick Olmsted parks. I mean, there's just Lizzie Borden, you know.
There's a little Lizzie Borden with an axe, but you know, that's part of the charm as well.
It really is.
And you know, there are people who What we've discovered, and you know this more than anybody else, Patty, what we've discovered is that tourism has evolved in many ways. And part of that evolution is that people are looking for experiences more than they are looking to just look at something.
Absolutely.
And so the experience is what we sell. We're selling what is it like to be in a place like this and enjoy it, or to be in New Bedford and walk the cobblestone streets, to be on the Taunton
The
Green.
working
and
waterfront, I mean.
working waterfront. There is so much that we have that we can offer experiences that other places cannot. And by the way, you were talking about food, and that always makes me happy. But one of the things I know, you've been working on something with natas. and
Oh, yes. So, I mean,
That's a special place in my heart.
Oh, I
want you
mean,
to know.
special place in my tummy. I'm obviously it's Viva Fall River. I mean, so I'm always, Fall River first. But I do think what you said earlier about marketing the region. It's important that we package all of these assets because, I mean, Fall River is not a place just yet where you could spend like a week's vacation, but it's certainly a place you can stop, spend a considerable amount of time, and also experience some of the things around us. And we can absolutely do that. And I can talk a little bit more about the Take 5 Off 195 campaign that we'll be doing again this year. But the Pastel de Nata Throwdown was something that came out of Throwdown that came out of New Bedford Food Tours, actually, which they're doing a wonderful job of bringing people to downtown New Bedford, and there's our downtown's a little bit different than theirs, and we're actually working on a Taste of Portugal tour that's going to debut this spring and summer.
Sign me up.
Right up and down Columbia Street, and it's going to be really great. But anyway, I digress because it's natas, and natas on my brain. And then we also brought in our friends at Destination New Bedford, and we said, let's do this fun thing where, you hear a lot of like, oh, New Bedford versus Fall River. And I mean, it's fun to like poke a little bit of fun at that, but we both have great bakeries. So let's just play. Let's have people from Fall River venture out so far away to New Bedford to their bakeries and vice versa. And I have to say, really all of us, our minds have been blown by how popular this has been. I've had to reprint the bingo cards 3 times.
That's awesome.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, and I mean the bakery. I mean, again, for me, it's always. I mean, I obviously want the accolades of customers and consumers, but to have the bakeries actually say, wow, we had people come in from Boston. They saw the Boston Globe article. Like, we're really excited. Like, we're always busy on a weekend, but we were really busy this weekend.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
That's great news, and you have gotten terrific media coverage.
Oh, we have a video. Shall we watch the video? really
Let's
quickly?
watch the video.
Yes,
That would
let's
be
watch
awesome.
the video.
All right. So hi guys. I am in Fall River today, and I am at Barcelo's Bakery, and I am going to be adding my little mark to now Fall River. First one. So let's go in and try it out. It is beautiful. Everything looks amazing here. But once again, I'm only here for the natas.
What are you doing in my neighborhood? I live it down the street. I get calls.
Oh, you get
New
calls?
Bedford outsiders come in.
Well, I'm here for the nata throwdown.
Well,
hello.
So funny. I'm here for a nata throwdown, but I do this every day.
Oh, you do?
We want Mayor Kruger with us.
Oh my goodness.
Because if he can't tell us who the best knots in town, who can, right?
Oh.
I'm going to narrow it down. Yeah, there you go.
Well, okay.
I think it's excellent.
You think it's excellent?
But I like sweet. I like sweet, so I'm not going to be a butt.
Yeah. So if it's got sugar, you like
I'm
it.
in.
Yep.
I'm not going anywhere.
I didn't get a stamp, but I did go.
I'm
Yeah.
going.
You improvised
I
on your
did
stand.
I did go.
Mine looks like an orange.
Yeah, mine does
That's
too.
so nice.
See, guys, totally. Okay, so
Let's
Let's go get natas, please.
let's go try these natas. Okay, let's go see. Let's go see how this is. All right.
Not bad. Okay.
It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work. It doesn't work that way. But we know that you were there. We know that you were there.
You see yours, I'll lick it.
Smudge just a little bit of orange.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
My crust is. It's not. This isn't going to It's not overly sweet.
No, it's perfect.
Okay.
and it's so crunchy.
I was gonna say, I could hear the crunch. That sounded
Oh, it.
I have a
you know
thing with
what?
people chewing, so if you guys could stop and just let me finish, that'd be nice.
There you go. There you
All
go.
right, guys, hey, this is Portuguese Kids. We're here in Fall River doing something special.
That's right. We are here at the Nata Nata Throwdown. First place is Letty's Bakery. We're meeting with our dear friend Maria Lawton, and we're going to see who's got the best potato nata in the area.
I'm ready to try them all, Fall River. Let's do it.
Come on.
Hi there, I am here for the Nata Throwdown. So there's going to be three. Where's three? You're having
Three
one too.
natas,
Three
yes.
natas. Do we have our cards ready, guys?
Yep.
I am doing my part in this.
Damn,
You know,
Maria.
I know.
Time to catch up.
You have a lot to catch up. All right, let's
Are
go.
these here?
Yeah, I have all three. Let's go sit down, hon.
Those are my three.
I ate all of mine.
I mean,
So that's pretty close.
yeah. I mean, I think.
I like the lemons. I'm a sucker for lemon squares.
So Maria, who's better, New Bedford or Fall River, and why do you think it's Fall River?
And why do
And why do you think it's Fall River?
Patty, that was terrific.
Isn't it funny?
That was terrific. I have a quick question.
Yes.
Whose idea was that?
It was Pam's. Yeah, Pam at New Bedford Food Tours said, I wonder if we could get Maria, and I wonder if we could get the Portuguese kids. And I'm always like, oh, I don't know, they're so busy. But she went for it, and
for her.
I'm like so grateful that they did, because I've wanted to meet all three of them for a really long time. So for me, I like fangirled out. I was really excited.
Well,
It
that's
is fun.
fantastic.
And for us at SE Mass, it was an opportunity for us to help with the throwdown by funding the video and
Yes, thank
making
you.
sure that word could get out. Because it's important for us to support these local initiatives. You know, the state has been very, very firm since COVID that instead of being just marketing to 55 miles away, which was what we used to be limited to, that we engage in MA local, that we support our local businesses, particularly those like this that produce something so good.
It's fun. I mean, it's really welcoming to people as well. I mean, and we're hoping this type of, this promotion, some of the things that we have going on in the summer, like the Take 5 Off 195 campaign, we're going to be adding a new itinerary. So we had 5 last year. We're going to be adding an ecotourism one.
Excellent.
And we're going to be adding some other little things here and there. But again, some people here might not see all the efforts that we do, but trust and believe, like, we're going to be marketing to those places. And working with the Southeastern Massachusetts Visitors Bureau is wonderful, because we can take the learnings of where these people are and share research. And that's another thing that we're working on that's going to inform Fall River's tourism efforts. I'd say Q4, 2023 into 2024, we have some tourism research that we've embarked on with UMass Dartmouth Charlton College of Business. Woo! And I think what we're going to find there is going to be a lot of what we already know, but it's going to be some hard numbers that can be used for economic development.
Well, and that's the thing, because a lot of what we know is anecdotal.
Yes.
Or observational. We can observe where license plates
Grants
are
don't
coming
really
from.
like that, though. They don't. They need numbers.
They'd actually like some hard data, and part of our job is to help to supply that. So we too were working with Charlton College to get some of that
No,
tourism
these collaborations are wonderful too. The more we can all work with one another, it's the strength of the region that's going to get us to a different place.
data. It is.
Well, thank you both, because you're doing fantastic work
thank
on
you.
behalf of the region and the city.
Thank you, Uncle Mike.
And it's really, really great stuff. It's great. I know on the throwdown, I know some folks from Connecticut, some Slovak folks who want to come and do
Okay.
it. So that'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But I'm going to change gears a little bit and move back over to some of the chamber topics that we have happening. First and foremost, Rick, tell us a little bit about the Valcourt Award.
Valcourt Award is an award that before the two organizations came together, New Bedford Chamber and Fall River Chamber, before they came together as one SouthCoast, the Fall River side had a wonderful Citizen of the Year award called the Valcourt Award, the Roger Valcourt. That award this year is being, for 2022, it's been delayed a little bit in presentation, in part because we try to couple it with a governor's event if we can, but with the changeover, that's been a challenge. So we're putting together a dinner on March 22nd at Rachel's Lakeside in honor of Frank Baptista. And Frank is somebody I think almost everyone in Fall River knows, and most people around the region know. He has been a community citizen for a long, long time, runs a fantastic Portuguese radio station, has a commitment to the community that is unparalleled. So what a wonderful recipient he is.
Yeah, and he's not on the board of the chamber anymore. He retired a few years ago, but he was on the board of the Fall River area chamber before we merged for a very long time.
Well, we
committed.
We
to
tend
the
to wear
business
out
community.
our board members. So
It happens. And that night, we're also going to be honoring our ambassador of the year, Ed Pacheco, who I know has been a friend of yours for a long time.
he has. Ed Pacheco is the owner of a small livery company called Places to Go. His company takes care of folks who have doctor's appointments, who don't have transportation, things of that kind. But he's been a wonderful community citizen forever. And he's been an ambassador of what was the New Bedford side, now the combined side, of the chamber for, I believe, 8 years now. And in that time, he has participated in ribbon cuttings. He's helped us grow our business by bringing in new members. He's made them feel comfortable. He goes to just about every event that he can go to represent us in the best of possible ways. So it's a wonderful opportunity for us to not only present him the Ambassador of the Year, but that is now going to be a named award. We had a wonderful ambassador named Pete Wild who succumbed to COVID a number of years ago, kind of early on in the COVID pandemic. Pete was at every event that we ever did and did some wonderful work with veterans groups as well. So we are renaming that award the Pete Wild Ambassador of the Year Award. His wife will be with us when we celebrate, and it would be a great opportunity to recognize Ed for his good work.
Wasn't Pete Wild a former ambassador of the year for the?
He was indeed.
For the SouthCoast Chamber at
Yes,
the
he
time?
was. He was a former ambassador of the year for us. I don't think we had a single event that Pete did not attend and help people check in. He was there at every one of them, introduced people, and then when he wasn't working with us, he was collecting blankets, collecting clothes, doing anything that he could for disabled vets. So it's wonderful to be able to honor him this way.
In some of the other events that the Chamber has coming up between now and April, we've got our part 2 of our small business boot camp series, which part 1 was fantastic, and you can, if you go to our YouTube channel, you can watch part 1. After part 2 happens, you'll also be able to go back if you're not available to see it live on Zoom, which is March 14th at 2 p.m. But it is a terrific marketing program done by Todd Philly from SouthCoast Marketing Group. You'd think I would know that name. But Todd did a terrific job in part 1, and we're anticipating a terrific job in part 2. And we're very, very excited because so many small businesses consistently tell us they need help with their marketing, their social media. So we're excited about that.
Can always learn something new.
Absolutely.
Always. Rick, you want to touch base on the Chamber Golf Tournament?
Chamber Golf Tournament, I have boasted for years that whoever signs up for that tournament is signing up for second place because I will get first. I have never lived up to that boast. We have moved the tournament that used to be the day after Labor Day. We've now moved that tournament to April, the end of April 24th. We're trying to get out of everybody's golf tournament season. We're here filming at Bristol Community College right now, and last year we were up against, on the same day, the Bristol Community College Foundation tournament. So we're trying to move away from that. We'll be at LeBaron Hills. Great, beautiful golf course in Lakeville, and we hope that you all have a chance to join us April 24th. And all of these things can be signed up for at onesouthcoast.com.
We also have coming up on April 5th, Mayor Paul Coogan will be talking to the Chamber about the state of business in Fall River. And that's at McGovern's. It's a luncheon. And again, you can sign up for that at onesouthcoast.com. And thank you very much, and we were very excited to be back live.
Yes. Bye.